The boy who baked his way to hope. Once upon a time, in a small village lived a young man named Samir. He came from a poor family, the kind of poor where dinner was never guaranteed, and dreams often felt too expensive to have. But even with empty pockets, Samir's heart was full of hope, full of fight, and full of belief that one day, life could be better. He tried everything to find a job. Day after day, he knocked on doors, filled out forms, and begged for opportunities. But every door he knocked on seemed to slam in his face. He didn't have fancy clothes. He didn't have a degree. All he had was determination. But still, rejection became a daily routine. Tired and broken, but not defeated, Samir had an idea one night. He remembered how his mother used to bake cookies from leftover flour and sugar. They were simple, but filled with love. Maybe, just maybe, he could sell those cookies on the street. So he baked, with shaky hands, a tiny stove, and a big dream. He stood on the corner of a busy street, holding a small tray of his homemade cookies. But people walked past him like he was invisible. Some looked at his worn-out clothes and turned away. Others laughed or whispered. Not a single person bought one. His heart hurt. Not because of the rejection, but because he had nothing left. So, he did the only thing he could. He gave the cookies away, to the hungry, to the homeless, to little kids with empty hands and big eyes. I might be struggling, he thought, but someone else is struggling more. The next day, he came back, with a few more cookies. Again, no buyers. But again, he gave them away to the poor. Day after day, he repeated this, and something magical started to happen. People began to notice, not just his cookies, but his heart. They saw a young man with nothing, still choosing to give. One woman came up and bought a cookie. Then a man bought 5. Then a family came and asked for more. Word spread, there's a boy on the corner with the kindest soul and the sweetest cookies. For the first time, he went home with coins in his pocket, and hope in his heart. Each day, his cookies sold faster. He never stopped giving some away, though. He'd always place a small basket beside his cart that said, "Free for those who need it." He believed that helping others had opened doors that once seemed forever closed. Weeks turned into months. With his savings, he bought better ingredients. Then a cart. Then, finally, a small shop, right on the same corner where he once stood invisible. But Samir didn't forget. Even when his shop grew into a chain of bakeries, even when he became a successful businessman, he always placed a basket outside with free cookies for the poor. Every morning. Without fail. And then, he did something bigger. He started an organization, one that helped feed the hungry, train the jobless, and support young dreamers like him. He called it the First Cookie. A reminder of where it all began. Samir became more than successful. He became someone who turned pain into purpose, and rejection into generosity. He proved that kindness isn't weakness, it's the strongest power we have. And in the end, the boy who once had nothing, gave everything, and gained more than he ever imagined.